Our speeds have dropped.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Kentucky Small Business Development Center's weekly webinar. I'm glad you're here, and as we take a few minutes to help people, the attendees join our event, we'd like to share some info about the Kentucky Small Business Development Center. We are the only statewide nationally accredited program that provides entrepreneurial and business development services. And the Kentucky Small Business Development Center plays a vital role in the Commonwealth's economic development by assisting entrepreneurs at every stage of their business life cycle. For almost 40 years, the Kentucky Small Business Development Center has assisted emerging and growing businesses by providing the professional expertise, tools, and information necessary to make sound business decisions in a complex and ever-changing marketplace. We do this at no cost to our clients, thanks to the U.S. Small Business Administration, who co-sponsors our program, which is then administered by the University of Kentucky, who partners with regional universities, colleges, and local economic development agencies. We're also part of a national network, America's SBDC, with over 1,000 centers across the nation. To learn more, please visit kybizhelp.com, and there you'll find additional resources to help you start, fund, and grow your business. Or if you'd like to request personal assistance, email us at info@kybizhelp.com or call 1-888-475-7232. Today, this afternoon, you'll receive a recording of today's webinar, so look for that. And then if you look to the right of your screen, you'll find the chat feature. So if you have any questions as we go along, please post them there now, and we'll answer them at the end of the presentation. So if you would, just go ahead and try the chat feature out now and say hello and tell us where you're from. And we're looking forward to having a great day today. I'm Dave Etkin. I'm the director of the Louisville Small Business Development Center. I'm one of the 13 centers throughout the Kentucky Small Business Development Center program here in Kentucky. And I'd like to welcome a couple of great guests today. Braden Wallachy is just a killer expert on LinkedIn marketing. If you haven't started using LinkedIn for your business, now is the time to really get your feet wet with that. Braden is the CEO of Hypersocial. He's a serial entrepreneur who finds a lot of joy in helping others, and he and his company got on my radar just because they are such great marketers that I could not notice what they were doing, and I thought, well, we've got to really get these guys on the show here tonight or today and learn a little bit about it. Also joining Braden lurking in the background is Katie Collins. So I'd like to say hello, Katie. So with that, Braden, I'd just like to turn it over to you right away. Let's not waste any more time. Let's talk about LinkedIn.
Yeah, awesome. I love that we actually got to be connected through the power of LinkedIn. You connected with my girlfriend and also our chief operating officer here at Hypersocial through her LinkedIn, and that's how we got to be here. So that's awesome proof of the pudding before we even get started. I see we have a lot of people from right around Kentucky and Ohio area. I'm Columbus born and raised. I don't know if there's a Columbus, Kentucky, but Columbus, Ohio. People from Indiana love asking if I'm from Columbus, Indiana. And I'm like, no, the real one, the big one. But I live in a van full time, utilizing LinkedIn to really grow my business. I come from a background of B2B sales, and LinkedIn is a fantastic place for if you're selling services or products to other businesses or to be able to utilize for sales and marketing big time. So excited to be here. That being said, I know we're having a question and answer session at the end, so I will try to make sure that we save questions that I see in here. We also have a Noah and Lizzie in the backgrounds if they want to be able to save or contribute questions as well. So thanks everybody for attending. Let's get started. So a big thing that I had learned in my previous career in the B2B sales space was from, we'll call them more gray-haired sales people. The biggest thing that they taught me in life was all about creating relationships rather than just creating, leads. When I focused my sales around actually just building relationships with people, my numbers skyrocketed because people care about people who care. I think there's a quote that says people don't care what you know until they know that you care. And I think that's more true today than ever before, with us not being able to do in-person things, that we have to try harder to create those relationships. So who is Hypersocial and why should you care? We're a B2B sales and marketing company. We started in 2016. We're based out of Columbus, like I said. I live in a van full time, so I don't know if you guys are getting the blizzard in Louisville, but I'm in Southern California at the moment, so we missed the snow. We rebranded our company in October of 2019 and started over from $0. No investors, no anything else to bring that forward. The only way that we have gone about getting our own leads and customers has been through LinkedIn. At the end of this month, so we're about a year and 3 months in, we're going to be at around 65K in monthly recurring revenue. And again, that is just from us doing LinkedIn outreach, which is amazing. So that's kind of another proof in the pudding. About me, here's all the things that I think are interesting about me. You can decide whether you think they're interesting or not. When I'm not doing LinkedIn and sales stuff, I like to hike, I like to play soccer, travel. I've got my dog. He's our CFO. He's our chief fun officer. He makes sure that we hike a lot and we go on lots of walks and lots of playing fetch as well. Katie is in the background. She's going to be here, or she is here as well. She is our actually VP of client success now. She's had an upgrade since we made this created this presentation. She's also based out of Columbus, and she's been with Hypersocial since July and is absolutely amazing. So you guys, there's her LinkedIn, if you want to connect with her. Why LinkedIn? That's a question that we get a lot. In terms of LinkedIn, and here's just some facts and figures, and there's the source where this come from. LinkedIn is the most used social platform amongst Fortune 500 companies. LinkedIn makes up more than 50% of all social traffic to B2B websites and blogs. So way more than Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. I don't know if there's any TikTok users in here. I'm not one, but I don't think that drives a ton of B2B traffic. About 45% of LinkedIn article readers are in upper level positions. So your managers, VPs, directors, C-level execs. So there's a lot of buying power or company influence power, decision-making power that are spending a lot of time on LinkedIn. And then 80% of B2B leads come from LinkedIn compared to 13% from Twitter and 7% from Facebook. So just really awesome proof that LinkedIn is a great place for you to be if you're trying to get to decision makers at companies that you want to work with. Today, I want to go over the 3 pillars. I believe that if you take these 3 pillars and implement them, that you can watch how your business will change. Pillar number 1 is going to be your profile. This is your personal profile on LinkedIn. We're going to go over the ways on how we set up that profile properly, how we go about changing our headline and our banner images, and how we should do this and how we should do that. Number 2 is going to be our outreach. This is actually, we're going to talk about something called Sales Navigator. If you guys have never heard of that before, we'll get into what that is, on how to find and target decision makers at the companies that you want to work with. And then step number 3 is going to be content. This is what you're actually posting on LinkedIn that anybody who's connected with you can see, and also people who aren't connected with you can see as well, and how important and the right types of content to create and how to go about creating content. So that being said, pillar number 1, profile. Step 1 of your profile is just setting yourself up with an amazing profile picture. LinkedIn profiles with photos actually get 21 more views and 21 times more views and 36 times more messages, which is amazing. Here are some examples of some really good profile pictures. We have on the left is our CMO, Erin. We actually did a fun thing with her profile picture where we cropped out the background, made that little outline. It's very different than a lot of the profile pictures that you see out there. Step 2, profile picture number 2 there in the middle is Emily. She's our Chief Operating Officer. It's nice. It's super clear. It's not super far away. It's not with a whole bunch of other people, which I think is super awesome. Just to really say, okay, who am I creating the relationships with? Who am I connecting with? You can see her face from the beginning. And then lastly, we have Roscoe. Roscoe's wearing his tie. He's ready to work. It's company colors. He's looking at the camera. It's, again, not blurry. It still expresses who he is. He likes to play in the grass. So, and his background is grass behind him. So profile picture is step 1. Number 2 is a banner. So if you guys go to go to anybody's LinkedIn profile, at the top, the first thing that everybody notices, because most people are visual, is going to be that banner. A banner is a chance to really capture the attention of the people who are coming to your profile. So here's a couple that we have set up for our clients. I really like the second one. It's very simple, but it has the logo. It continues to just build that brand recognition. It also has Lori's contact information there. So Lori at thegrowthowl.com or thegrowthowl.com. Up here at the top is a branding client of ours. And you can actually see she has her profile picture in there, which is cool, but it just gives an understanding. So they come to your profile and they say, oh, this is all about branding. So build your brilliant brand kit. And then Growth Owl, we have a little bit about, we have the Growth Owl slogan. So having a nice banner, utilizing something like Canva, which is a free resource. They even have templated LinkedIn banners that you could use, which can be super helpful for those of you like myself who are not, artistically inclined. Basically, if I try to make a banner, it looks like I did it in Microsoft Paint. So Canva has some great resources there. It's a good free resource for anybody to use. Headline. Headline is something interesting. A lot of people utilize the headline as just putting what their current title is. So if you're the CEO of a company or the COO or whatever your current position is, I think it can be more powerful than that. What's cool about your headline on LinkedIn is anywhere that your name is seen, your headline is also seen. So it's kind of like a little tagline that follows you around anywhere. So instead of just being, hey, I'm just the CEO of Hypersocial, let's get into some further details. People know before they even get to your profile what they're going to get into when they talk with you. So Jamie Quinn, he's a teammate of ours. He's a member of Hypersocial. He has entrepreneur, then he has marketer, and then he has a bit here of what he does and who he does it for. So what he does is I help create marketing/sales campaigns. And who does he do it for? He does it for B2Bs. And then Ford Taylor, he is a professional training and coaching consultant. I missed the rest of his headline, but it's then what he does and who he does it for. So there's a really good way to set that up. And it just is so powerful with all the ways to be seen on LinkedIn, how to make sure that you're setting yourself up in that for success. Summary section. This is the about section. This is your chance to kind of expand on your headline and let people get to know you. Some tips and tricks about the about section. I was just taking my words there. About the about section is we like to make it not too long. People are quick. And that's where the now generation is what Black Eyed Peas call us. And so it's important to be able to get into specifics, but without taking too much effort. So what we do is we like to do 3 lines or 3 paragraphs of 3 to 4 sentences. Now I know this one's a little bit longer, but it'll still give you a good idea. Paragraph 1 is just going to be expanding on your headline. Why do you do what you do? Why do you care about who you do it for? Just expanding on that personal aspect. Paragraph 2, we like to get in some very specific numbers. So for example, if you can see here, it's actually the third paragraph here. Our B2B clients have seen 115,000 plus revenue growth in as little as 6 months with our services, while offering better cost per lead and more brand awareness. That's some awesome, social proof, case studies, testimonials, actual results that you've achieved. And then step 3 is why and how people should contact you. So we can see here for Noah, email me at noah@gohypersocial.com or message me directly on LinkedIn. I'd love to help your business grow. Even if we don't work together, I'd love to teach you some LinkedIn skills or point you in the right direction. So it has how to contact him, which is either his email or message him on LinkedIn. And it has why he would like you to contact him as well. It's a really simple breakdown. We've seen this as we got this guide from HubSpot on how to go about doing this. It's really simple, but it's really effective. Then we have some of the other stuff that go into a good profile. Number 1 is setting up your skills. Now you can have unlimited skills given to yourself on LinkedIn. So if like me and you think really highly of yourself, I think I'm great at everything. So I've listed out a whole bunch of skills that I think I'm awesome at. However, of all those skills, you could choose 100, you could choose 150. Of all those skills, only 3 can be highlighted on your profile. So pick the 3 that you think from somebody who is looking at you as a prospective, their prospective client of them, or no, the other way around. Their prospective client of you. What are the 3 main skills that you should have? So is it customer service? Is it sales? Is it, for us, is it LinkedIn? Is it B2B sales? Whatever that is, highlight those top 3 skills that you think are the most useful. Also, when people are coming around and giving you skills, the ones that they're going to endorse and say, hey, this person is very good at this, they generally use the top 3. They don't generally go to a random 150th skill and say, hey, they're really good at this one. And then we have the recommendation section. Now, this is cool because on LinkedIn, you can give out recommendations and you can also receive them. You can actually go about asking people for recommendation, which will send them a direct LinkedIn message and say, hey, can you write me a recommendation? What's awesome about this is, again, these are all real people on LinkedIn who are writing recommendations. So this is Chayton. He's one of our team members. We can see he's received 11 recommendations and he's given out 10. It can be people that you worked with. It can be clients. It can be employees. It can be leaders. Any of that is a great recommendation because people want to know about you personally. I think more and more people care about the individuals that they're working with rather than the companies that they're working with. Also, I kind of skipped over the experience section, just highlighting your past work experience. The way I like to change the work experience or adjust the work experience is to kind of point it to what you learned at that position to get you to where you are today. So for us, if I'm in B2B sales for companies, I'm in a B2B, I don't know, whatever position, I can talk about my past B2B sales experiences. I can talk about my past companies that I've owned, the skills that I've learned, and how that makes me the best CEO that I can be today. So that's the way we like to do the experience section. Some miscellaneous stuff. A lot of people will, when they create their LinkedIn, what happens is when you create your LinkedIn, if you have your LinkedIn URL, it directs to your page. A lot of time it's going to be linkedin.com/US/Braden-Wallach- a bunch of numbers and letters. If you go into your settings, you can actually change that and just make it something custom. So just make it Braden-Wallach or Braden.Wallach or Roscoe.Wallach. Just make it ease of use. So that way you're not, if you're trying to share your LinkedIn profile on Facebook, you want people to connect with you, you don't have to share a link that says Braden-Wallach-47321948U. That's not such a fun thing to send out. Number 2 is change default LinkedIn email to your business email. This is important. We've actually seen it internally. We've received emails come straight to us. Actually, how we met David was Emily, our chief operating officer, reached out to him and he skipped the LinkedIn conversation and he just sent her an email. She saw it because she didn't have just a Gmail set up or a Yahoo set up. She had it as her business email. So it just helps with those prospective potential clients or whoever be able to just email you directly. You can also add certifications and honors. Myself, I don't have that many of those. A lot of people will have more of those than I will, but they are important. And then other contact information. If you want people to be able to have your phone number to give you a call or other social media links, anything like that, you can add that as well, just to spruce up your profile even further. A cool tool, and we'll get into this a little bit further, is Resume Worded. If you're curious on how your profile compares to other profiles out there, if you go to resumeworded.com, you can actually download your LinkedIn profile as a PDF. You can upload it to Resume Worded, and Resume Worded will give you a score. So this is an example score that we see here. And it'll break down the different categories. So breaking down the headline, the summary, the experience, the education section, and the other section. And then it'll give you some time on how to go about adjusting those. So not just, okay, I need to fix my summary, but it'll give you some details on how to go about fixing your summary, which is awesome. So this is obviously a objective score, but it'll kind of base it. Are you writing your stuff in the present tense? Are you writing your stuff in the past tense? How does it appear to the reader? Are you using specific numbers? Things like that. Pillar number 2, content. I think we switched that around compared to what we put on the first one. Okay, content is apparently first. I thought it was going to be outreach first, but that is fine. So content is going to be what we post on LinkedIn, where you're connected with people, you've got your network. What kind of content should we put out there to continue to build your expertise, your industry leadership, whatever it is that you want to be perceived as? What kind of LinkedIn post did you create? So a few things to think about before or when creating a post. Number one, of the 10,000 most shared articles of the last 5 years, only 6% of those were written by influencers. So written by the Gary Vaynerchuks of the world, or these people who have tons and tons of followers. Of the most shared articles, only 6% of those were written by these tons of followers individual. Number two is more and more content is being consumed via mobile devices. So what that means is, instead of creating blocks of content when you're writing out a post and just making it a big, huge paragraph, when you open that up on a phone, it's not fun to look at. So by actually going and thinking about, when you're creating a post, that it's going to be most likely read a lot on mobile, and how we should make it look so it looks consumable and it's easily consumable on mobile, is super important. Number three is the 80-20 rule. A lot of people think that the 80-20 rule, well, most of the time, the 80-20 rule is 80% of your effort is going to bring you 20% of, I forget the exact thing. Our 80-20 rule is that of all the posts that you create, 80% should be focused around business. It should be focused around experiences that you've learned, stories that you're telling, things like that. But to keep people guessing, 20% should be lead generation posts, where you say, okay, I'm going to give away this free resource, drop your email, and I'll send it over to you, something like that. The way that I think of this is kind of like in a relationship. If you were 100% nice all the time, or 100% mean all the time, your significant other, you're not keeping them on their toes. So same thing with LinkedIn. If you're just posting 100% of the same type of content over and over and over, people are going to get bored. They're going to want to stop engaging it. But by actually keeping them on their toes, by saying, yeah, most of the stuff that I do, I'm mostly nice, but I might be a little bit sarcastic every once in a while. So on LinkedIn, I might post 80% business and then 20% related to life or dogs or lead generation or anything like that. And number four thing to think about on creating posts on LinkedIn is, actually, LinkedIn posts have the longest shelf life of any social media, which is awesome. So if you guys are active Facebook users or Instagram users, you know that your post that you create, especially on Instagram, 2 hours later, not a lot of people are seeing it. It's kind of the opposite with LinkedIn. I've actually had posts that like 4 days after I created the post, it had like 4,000, 5,000 views on it. And then on day 5 or day 6, all of a sudden I had 20,000 views on the post, which is amazing. So LinkedIn is rewarding good quality content, and it can stick around for a while. So instead of needing to create a new picture or a new post every single day, your post can actually sit around for a while and still be out there being seen by people all around LinkedIn. So that's super awesome. So LinkedIn has a variety of posts, just like Facebook does. We've got our text-based posts, which is just like this. We've got a text-based plus an image post that you can see from Aaron over on the right-hand side. You can tag people in it. We can also use things like slides, which are, I guess we don't have an example of slides. You can actually put up to 10 slides, which can kind of just tell a story or share, 5 best tips for this or that. You can also use video. Video is so important. As we all know, video is the king of social media. It does extremely well on LinkedIn as well. I think personally that the most important thing in terms of creating LinkedIn content is telling stories. People relate to stories. If I say, hey, here's how to, sorry, I got distracted by Kendall's comment. I can gladly answer that at the end, Kendall. When you share stories with people, people can actually put themselves in the shoes of those stories, and actually connect with that a lot more than just hey, here's how you should do this better. If you're like, hey, here's a time where I actually went through this, and here's why I do this better, and here's why you should do the same thing, people can relate to that a lot further. You'll also see a lot more engagement, a lot more shares, that kind of stuff. So I think that's super important. A couple notes on these 2 posts right here. Not only are these story posts, myself, I talk about how my dad is a million X the business person or businessman that I will ever be, and I share a story about him being that. What's also cool here is, if you guys can look how I've set up that post, is instead of doing big paragraphs, like I said for mobile, I do a line and I do 2 spaces, and I do a line and I do 2 spaces, and I do, there's kind of like a wave effect of the lines getting longer and shorter. It's so easy to read and consume this kind of content. And that's why I write all of my posts that same exact way. If you go look at my LinkedIn, you'll see that all of my posts are structured the same way. I never create these big, long paragraphs. even on desktop or on a laptop, this is so much easier to read comparatively to big blocks of text when you're sharing your stories. So just another kind of tip there. And Daniel Doan, he's a copywriter friend of mine. He does the same exact thing. So it's very important. Another step is to be engaging. This is a client of ours, Claire. She goes out and she's always commenting and engaging with other people's posts. What this does in LinkedIn's brain is it's saying, hey, Claire cares about LinkedIn. So by actually having her go out and we're going to reward her by that she's gone out and commented on people's posts and liked people's posts and things like that. And she's commenting real stuff. She's not saying, hey, here's a thumbs up or good job or things like that. She's commenting actual feedback, which is so important because now on Evan's post, Evan's more likely to see Claire's stuff because she's commented on his post. So LinkedIn says, oh, maybe I should show Claire's stuff to Evan as well. And same with Lily. And then just the overall LinkedIn saying, hey, Claire cares about LinkedIn. Claire's spending a lot of time on LinkedIn. We're going to reward her and say, hey, more people should see her posts because she's an avid LinkedIn user. 80-20 rule, we already got into, and how to go viral. There's been a lot of conversation on how to go viral on different social media platforms. So here's the keys for LinkedIn. Engagement is the number one key to going viral. Likes, shares, and comments. This is so important. When people like or comment on your post, even if they're not sharing it, if they like and commented on it, all of their network is now going to see your posts in their feed. They're going to see something at the top that says, actually, Claire might have an example. Yeah, so you can see I'm not actually connected with Lily here, but I saw this comment because Claire Kim commented on this. So in my feed, I saw Claire Kim commented on this, and then I saw Lily's post because of that. So it's actually a way if you get those likes and shares that now, sorry, it's mad at me. There we go. Now I get to see, or your network or gets to see, he's going to have that second degree who's now able to see all of your posts as well. So maybe you're connected with the CEO of Chase Bank, for instance, and he has a ton of other CEO friends at banks. I mean, maybe that's your ideal client or ideal target audience. Well, now when whatever his name is likes your post, all of those CEOs are going to see that on their feed also, which is a huge way to get more traction and more eyes on your post. On the hashtags, which is a huge question, Instagram allows up to 30 hashtags. I recommend just putting anywhere between 4 to 5 or even 3 to 5 hashtags that are very related to that post or related to what you do, period. Just put them at the end, separate them a little bit. That will help. People can follow hashtags on LinkedIn. So now it'll help those hashtags be seen as you're getting more engagement. It's going to say, hey, if I go to that hashtag, it's more likely I should show this post at the top of that hashtag comparatively to other ones. Engage with people who comment. This should be a no-brainer. If people comment on your post, comment back, have a conversation, say thanks for their comment or anything like that, or answer their questions if they have them. The more engagement that you have, the more comments that you have, the more that LinkedIn is saying, okay, not only does he or she want to share this post because they want to get comments, but they're actually engaging with those who comment back. LinkedIn's going to reward those posts even further. And then the last key will be, if you're sharing a post and it's doing better than your normal posts do with more views, more likes, more comments, and you already have maybe something else that you want to put out there, wait. Because of that long shelf life, LinkedIn, if you were to create a post right now and it were to start to go viral and you start to get a lot of likes, start to get a lot of comments, as soon as you share another post, LinkedIn's saying, hey, I need to take the eyes off of this previous post and put it on their more recent post. So by actually delaying that and saying, okay, I'm going to wait on this one for a couple of days, it's all of the eyes are going to go onto that post that's already doing really well. So just kind of having that self-control to say, I know I have a really good post, save it in your notes and share it a few days later if you have a current post that's doing well. Outreach. This is, I think, the most important thing on LinkedIn. Having a good profile sets up so when you do outreach, people are coming to view your profile. Actually, both of the previous ones, profile and content, are setting it up so when you go out and you do your outreach and you try to connect with Elon Musk or Bill Gates or whoever the people are that you want to connect with, they come back and they view your profile. They also see that you're sharing posts. They say, okay, this is actually somebody that I would love to do business with. So those are kind of pillars to set you up. So when you're doing your outreach, people want to connect with you. They want to chat with you. They want to have conversations because you've set up your kind of personal brand so well with the content and with the profile. LinkedIn Sales Navigator. LinkedIn Sales Navigator, if you guys have not heard of it, is a premium version of LinkedIn. The cost of it is $79.99 a month. If you've never had it before, there's a free 30-day trial for it. There's a couple of big things that I love about LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Number one is comparatively to a regular LinkedIn search where you want to try and find your ideal target audience. What Sales Navigator has is a bunch more filters. So I can target people based on their company size. So if I want to target small business owners, I can target, companies with 1 to 10 employees or 11 to 50 employees. If I want to target CEOs at big companies, I can say, hey, I want their company to have at least 5,000 employees. There's a lot of filters there. You can do things based on geography, based on degree of connection. So you have your first degree, which are your current connections. You have your second degree, which are connections of connections. And then actually Sales Navigator also opens up a new circle, which is the third degree connections, which is connections of connections of connections, which is pretty sure basically the entire world at this point of how many degrees of separation that we have. And there's a lot more filters, such as you can choose the exact title that you want them to have. You can choose the industry you want them to be in. So if you're a marketing company and you work with you help pharmaceutical companies with their marketing, cool. You can target people based on them being in the pharmaceutical industry. And you can say, hey, I want to target the chief marketing officers at pharmaceutical companies of 11 to 50 or 11 to 200 employees, something like that. So it really allows us to nail down exactly who we want to connect with. So that way you're connecting with people who make sense to have in your network. What's cool, another thing about Sales Navigator, sorry, I keep jumping ahead, is comparatively to a regular LinkedIn account, when you're paying for Sales Navigator, LinkedIn also loosens up your kind of restrictions on what you can do per day. So with a free LinkedIn account where you're not paying for it, you can send 20, 25 connection requests a day to people before LinkedIn says, hey, what are you doing? Like, come on. When you actually get Sales Navigator, they open up their restrictions and say you can actually send up to 100 connection requests per day, and LinkedIn isn't going to flag you. They're not going to get mad at you. They're going to say, hey, you're paying us some money. So we're going to let you do this. Tracy, I will answer that question afterwards as well. So now we've gone through Sales Navigator. We've said, hey, I want to target the small business owners. So you send them a connection request. You can also customize that connection request, which is awesome. So you can say, hey, Tracy, or hey, Kendall, how would you like to connect here on LinkedIn? And they're going to say, yes, you customize that connection request. So it makes it a little bit more custom. So it's not just, hey, we'd love to connect on LinkedIn. Hey, we'd love to connect on LinkedIn. Hey, we'd love to connect on LinkedIn. But putting a little bit of thought into that will get much more of those targeted audience to accept. Then from there, what's awesome about once they actually become connected with you, so kind of like being a friend on Facebook, being connected with you on LinkedIn means you have kind of free reign to their inbox. What that means is after they connect, you can say, hey, Tracy, hey, Kendall, here's the reason I connected with you. I was researching your business. I think that here at Hypersocial, we can really help you grow your B2B sales and your B2B leads. Utilizing LinkedIn, I would love to schedule a call with you. What's cool about that is that they can accept it. It's very conversational. It's right in their inbox. What's cool about LinkedIn is for these decision makers who, if you're trying to cold call them or you're trying to knock on their door to say, hey, I would love to talk to you, lots of times there's a gatekeeper. There's the executive assistant who's saying, hey, no, the owner's busy right now. The CEO's busy. They're not around. You're like, I see them. They're right there. They're not doing anything. And she or he is like, no, absolutely not. Like, can't talk to them. On LinkedIn, people are using these as their own platforms. So there's a lot less gatekeepers in the way. So when you're sending a message to Bill Gates, maybe he has a gatekeeper on LinkedIn. Bill Gates, for instance, you're chatting directly with Bill Gates. That kind of eliminates that. It's a social platform. You're connecting with people in that way. Okay. And then back in the beginning of the presentation, I talked about how relationship building is the most important thing comparatively to just trying to sell. So I put some crappy examples in here of what doesn't do well on LinkedIn. Try to pitch and when you customize that connection request and trying to pitch instantly, it doesn't work. People are tired. People in the entire world, they hate being sold to, but they love buying stuff. And as soon as they feel like they're getting just instantly sold to and you don't care about anything else, they're going to turn you away. So this is an example. Hi, Braden, just touching base because I've had some ideas that I feel will greatly improve your sales processes. I have a lot of experience in your industry. Got a few minutes to chat. Please book with me here. And here is her calendar link. It puts all the effort onto me to book that time with her. Like, she's putting in zero effort. She's just running through as many numbers as possible. I know that this is lazy. I know that this is copy and pasted, and I frankly will turn it down every time. And then this other one here, hi, Braden. Thank you for connecting. I hope you and yours are well and safe. This is Prince Paul. That's awesome. Cool name. From Intellitech Solutions. We are a B2B demand generation company and would like to provide you with B2B marketing leads. We are operating at 100% capacity, so please let me know if I can help you in any way. Thanks, and be safe. Again, it's a connect. That was the very first message he sent. He didn't care to ask me questions about, do I need B2B leads? Do I have a good pipeline? Any of that kind of stuff. He didn't figure me out first before he just put his pitch in there. So avoid doing that. Instead, be personal, ask questions, care. So this is an example of a conversation I had with someone out of Phoenix named, his name was Sly Fox. I forget his actual name. But I sent him a message. He responded. And I even put like why I was connecting with him. So I put, hey Sly, I'm the CEO of Hypersocial, building my business from a mobile office / camper van while traveling the USA. Our next stop is Phoenix, which is where he lives. I'd love to connect. So then he responded to that. I then went into something called BombBomb, and I recorded him a video. You can see on this whiteboard, it has his name on it. It says, hey, Sly. So now he knows this isn't just something that I'm sending to anybody else. I asked him a question about his name, and then I put a link to my calendar. His response was, first of all, great approach to a DM and outstanding elevator pitch. I actually hate 99% of the messages I receive through messaging, but yours definitely jumped out at me. I'm definitely game for a Zoom call to talk shop. So by just taking that extra effort and not just selling Sly, I got to have a conversation with him. I got to get on a Zoom call. I got to build that connection even more with Sly, or I forget his real name, Mr. Fox. We'll call him Mr. Fox. That is so important. It's important that even if you're copying and pasting, just to make things conversational, write it as if you were following up with them right then and there. So if you say, hey, I'm going to craft out 3 follow-up messages to send out to people, put it as if you were doing it live, not as if this is something that you're copying and pasting to every single bit of person. Leave a little bit for customization based on if they say, how are you doing? Well, good. Then put, I'm doing great. How are you doing? And then you can kind of get to the rest. Ask questions before pitching, and you'll see results skyrocket. A little bit about us here at Hypersocial and what exactly we do. And then we'll get into the Q&As. How does Hypersocial work? So what we do is we're a team of LinkedIn experts that takes the guessing and grinding out of this entire process. We'll optimize your profile for you. We'll find your ideal target audience using Sales Navigator, and we'll write engaging relationship / value-based messaging. We'll send the connection requests on your behalf every single day, up to 100 of them, to your ideal target audience, and we'll follow up to that conversation in the way that makes sense. So we're going to get all the messaging approved, and we're going to do all of that, take all of your stress and efforts on it, where you just get to reap the benefits. So now your time is just spent, instead of prospecting, instead of doing the outreach, your time is just spent building those relationships where we've got that relationship started. So it's kind of like a good visual representation. It's kind of like we're running around with a David mask on, knocking on businesses' doors, and as soon as that owner lets us in to have that conversation, we're actually letting the real David in instead. So that's kind of how our company works. We're going to do everything like it says here on a relationship / value-based messaging. We're not just going to go through numbers for you and just try to sell. We do all of this effort for you, optimizing your profile, everything. So, and then the last thing is what sets Hypersocial apart. Number 1 is we lead with value. Number 2 is we have very, very conversational messaging. Before anybody can become a copywriter or a writer for our messaging that we do, we take them through a very rigorous process to get them approved as a Hypersocial writer. Our goal of our campaigns is short-term ROI, but also longer-term ROI, aiming to build long-term relationships. I like to say that a relationship is worth more than a lead all day, every single day. We also have amazing customer service, which is not something that I do. Our customer service team is amazing, and that's Noah and Lizzie and Katie and Emily here as well. And then lots of knowledge. We have lots of data from all of the LinkedIn clients that we have. So we know what works, we know what doesn't work. So we get our clients' results very quickly. We work with them very well to keep on testing and making sure that we're getting them the best ROI that they could possibly get from the money that they spend with us. So ignore this link right here. This is actually not the accurate link. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to lead with value. I've told you guys several times that Katie, Lizzie, and Noah are here. I don't want to sell you guys anything, but I've put them up to anybody who wants to schedule a one-on-one call with each of them where they can get into further details about Sales Navigator, even show you some sample searches of what it looks like to go after your ideal target audience, all that kind of stuff. They can do that for you. So I'll actually, Katie, if you could send the link to the Calendly here in chat. I may have it as well. Oh yes, there's the link. So when you click on that link to schedule, it's going to randomly choose between Katie, Lizzie, and Noah. They're all equally awesome, equally amazing. They can super help you guys out, and they're not there to sell you guys. They're just there to say, hey, here's how to use LinkedIn on your own. If you decide you want to use Hypersocial to help you do it better and faster, that's fine. But they're also going to give you the resources to be able to say, hey, I'm going to do this on my own. So that is all I have. I would love to get into some of these questions that are here and get to answering them. Katie, if you want to join and help answer some questions as well, if you want to turn your video and audio back on, that would be fantastic. Hey, David.
I think if you don't mind, Braden, I'd like to ask a question about kind of the story, how we all got connected to begin with. And I was actually looking for someone to speak on this, on what we just talked about. And for some reason, out of the blue, Emily sent me a DM that said, hey, I'm thinking about hosting some webinars. If I had one, would you come? And I thought, well, that's interesting. But so then I said, let's flip the script. I mean, would you come to my webinar? And that's how that whole thing kind of got started. And I'm wondering, on the back end, what's the secret sauce? How did she find me? When I wasn't looking for you right away.
Yeah. So a couple of secret sauce things that we use here is, number one is location-based targeting. When I showed at that connection request that I sent to Slyfox, when I used Phoenix and I said, hey, I'm connecting with you because you're in this area, or I want to connect with you because you're in this area. So Emily's connection request to you, when she was asking about the webinar, what she said, I'm planning on speaking, or was planning some speaking events in Louisville/Lexington. So obviously you were off the bat, you were saying, oh, okay. So that kind of took down your wall, right? It's not just some random person on the internet saying, hey, I want to do this. They use your location, and that comes off so organic. Number two is on our end, we filtered down, you became part of one of our Sales Navigator searches. So you're one of our industries that we focus on. You had the title of one of the ways that we focus, and you ended up becoming a second degree connection of Emily and had a person in common. So that kind of took your wall down further as well. So that was kind of that secret sauce. Another key to that message was that question that we asked. We didn't just ask an open-ended question, which involved a lot of response from you. Sure, you went above and beyond and said, hey, how would you like to do this instead? The question was, if I did this, would you do that? And by not promising them anything, not just saying, hey, here's a link to the webinar, here's a link to this, here's a link to that, you do with it what you want, by actually just making it easy on them. Would you be interested in attending it? Okay, yeah, or no. And then Emily has responses that she can have crafted. If you say yes to the webinar, if you would have said yes just straight to the webinar, David, she would have said, hey, awesome, I'll give you some details on when it is. How would you like to get on a one-on-one call instead? So that way I can actually just share with you my screen personally, get into more individual stuff. So that's the way that she's kind of crafted that. So by saying yes or no to the webinar, she knows how to kind of pivot that conversation from there. And only thing required from you is a yes or a no.
That's nice. That's great.
You didn't know you were getting worked over by professionals, but
I knew. I could tell it was just too unrandom, It was just, but it worked out great. I mean, I'm glad you guys are here. This has been spectacular. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you've been watching the chats. I mean, people are really enjoying you. So
that's good.
So I'll ask the next one. Catherine works with us in Northern Kentucky. She's with the SBDC as well. She's asking about using LinkedIn for attracting employees. What has worked well with you guys to do that, or have you been working on that?
Yeah. Right now, with the state of the economy and the world that it's in, so LinkedIn has a few different premium versions. And one thing that you can do is you can create a job post. If you've never created a job post before, or if you only have one, you can have one free active job post at a time. Other than that, it's kind of like paying for an ad. If you have a second, third job post, you can pay for that to be pushed out there. Right now, in the world that we're in, just putting out a free job post has so many applicants on it. I think my last job post that I put up there had 450 applicants just with that. So there is a section of LinkedIn just for the employee side of things. It's not something that we focus on because we just want to be on the B2B side, focusing on the sales and the relationships and that kind of stuff. So it's a great tool for finding jobs. It's a great tool for finding employees. I think Katie, that's how we found you, right? I posted a job and you applied for it. So yes, we have found amazing employees through LinkedIn as well.
Katie, you want to pick one?
Yeah, so something that Regina asked, if there's any industries that we shy away from. So typically no, but we have seen that overall, anyone that's targeting companies that are in more of a blue collar space, understandably might not be on their computer as much. If they're a plumber, they're out doing those jobs. So we definitely have had more success with people that target white collar companies. Not saying that we can't get it for the people targeting blue collar, but just the rate of the acceptance and how much they're on LinkedIn is a lot higher with white collar companies.
Yeah, absolutely. A plumber isn't getting on LinkedIn while he's fixing a pipe. He's not thinking about LinkedIn at all.
Unless he's looking for a job.
Yeah,
maybe.
exactly.
Right.
Exactly. I saw a comment or a question from Ada.
Mm-hmm.
Is it useful to have a LinkedIn profile for a small art retail business? I think so. The way that I think of LinkedIn and actually just company structures period is if we look at this, and we can get super nerdy with this, you have the Avengers brand, right? So you have it has its own brand name, it has its own logo, but by itself, they don't do that much with it, right? It's there to make announcements, say, hey, our Avengers are here to save the world. Cool, great. But what really makes up the Avengers brand are those individual brands at the company, right? So it's Iron Man's brand and the Hulk's brand, all of those. And I'm blanking on the rest of them. I should have had them better prepared. But we know Iron Man as he's arrogant, he's funny, he's got a lot of money. That's his brand. The Hulk, he's always angry. You never know. We have Archer dude with all of his bows and arrows. That's bad. So for the small art retail business, I would create a business page for it, but I would go about creating all these relationships from you individually, your profile picture to their profile picture, your name to their name, in terms of who do you want to sell your art to? Is it local businesses? Is it who are those? And then who are those people at those local businesses? So connecting face to face is more important than it's ever been with the lack of stuff that we get to do together in the current world. So I think it's totally amazing to do it for business. And plus you can get repeat customers. Obviously, if one of our customers is a co-working space out of Columbus, and they keep opening up new locations. So if you're an art retailer and they have custom tables for every single location, and they use the same people to make those custom tables every single time. So you can actually get a lot of repeat business from business customers comparatively to individuals they've got one wall on one house they need to fill. Cool. You sold them a piece of art, but now they're full. On companies who are expanding or growing, things like that you can actually utilize that to get even more relationships.
Thomas wanted to let you know that it's Hawkeye you were talking about.
Hawkeye, thank you, Thomas. Thank you. That was rough.
there is a lot of them. So,
Braden, do you want to answer Tracy? So just benefit to smaller companies and nonprofits. Give your take on that.
Yeah. So if we look at like with what we do, we can target small business owners all the way up to large business owners. Okay. Small business owners, they're generally, not that we're not busy, but we are busy, but we're a little bit easier to reach. So yes, for us, it may be a 1 seat or 2 seat thing, and we'll actually get a lot more responses from small business owners and a lot more calls and things like that, comparatively to going after a CEO or an owner of a 5,000 or 10,000 plus employee company. It's going to be a lot harder to get a hold of Bill Gates rather than me, for instance. Like, it'll be much easier to get a hold of me than it would for Bill Gates. So there's totally a thing for doing that. And actually for nonprofits as well, we have a few clients who are targeting nonprofits, and their campaigns have done really, really well. You can actually, it's one of the industries you can select on LinkedIn Sales Navigator. I want to target these people of nonprofit companies.
Brady, we had an earlier question about the use of slides on posts. Could you maybe chat about that quickly?
Yes. So again, I would use something like a Canva, for instance. So what it is on your slides, if you create a slideshow, save it as a PDF. So make it 1080 by 1080. So a perfect square is what their slides are going to look like.
Uh-oh. All right.
Might have lost him. We are happy. At least we got through the whole presentation.
That's so true. Yeah, we living in a van, I guess, that has its challenges. So, well, Katie, why don't you ask and answer a question for us here?
Silos. Apologies if I'm not pronouncing that correctly, but what do you mean by this as far as what about trucking companies? If you could just expand on that a little bit, could be helpful. And then Kendall. So as far as marketing to individuals, I think you can do it pretty much the same way if you want to base it on, titles at certain companies to go after or industries that you would specifically want to target. That's kind of the best way. That's why we work with B2B clients on building those searches. But again, just leading with value. So when you connect with them, giving them a little information on why you're connecting with them is definitely important to starting that conversation.
There you are. So we got to the perfectly square. So pick it up from there.
All right. 10 slides. You can choose 5. You can choose 10. Creating those as a perfect square, putting what you want on each of them. I like to make the slides that I create have a similar background on all of them, similar graphics, saving that as a PDF. Then when you go to LinkedIn to upload, to create a post or anything like that, right at the top of when you join LinkedIn, you'll see something to upload a document. When you upload that document, it will automatically create it as a slide.
Got it. Thanks.
And then Brady, another question regarding trucking companies and marketing towards their services versus products, kind of how we can do that. I mean, it's pretty much the same, but if you want to go into how it would be different compared to products for him. We froze.
You did.
So I can take this one. Basically, you would still build a custom search on depending the industries that you were going after. So whoever you're trying to work with and get those trucking services purchased by, you would kind of pick that industry, the titles that you would typically work with, and narrow it down that way to then work with them on hopefully getting on a phone call and talking through kind of the services you can provide. So it can be the same for products versus services.
Yeah.
So
Cody asked, I sell signage. We'll be targeting property managers, purchasers, and small business owners. Would LinkedIn be your first choice of social platforms to start building? I want to answer this question as unbiasedly as possible because I love LinkedIn. So I had a prospective client a few months ago. She said, if your sister was doing what I do, would you recommend LinkedIn as her first choice of marketing / sales outreach? And I absolutely believe it. It's the reason LinkedIn being so powerful is the reason I opened the company. I didn't open up the company to then sell LinkedIn on its power. Property managers, purchasers, actually, we have a client who has hair products and she's selling to buyers of like corporations.
Beauty,
Sorry.
yeah, beauty
Yes, please
products.
take over. But yeah, property managers is something that you can totally target. You can say, hey, I want to target property managers at they're going to be in the commercial real estate space or whatever industry they're going to put themselves in. That's someone to target. And now the reason that I believe in LinkedIn above Facebook ads, above Google ads, above a lot of that kind of stuff is because instead of waiting for them to be searching for the right kind of things to find you, let's go chat with them. Let's stop waiting for them and say, hey, I hope you find me on Google. And then they don't. And then you hope they're searching for it. But if you say, hey, property manager, I sell this signage because I think it, and here's what I think it could do for you, like that kind of thing. Let's start the conversation from us putting in the effort instead of us having to wait for them to get the effort from their side.
There's a good question from Kendall. She says she does resume consulting, but she's seeking out individual clients as opposed to maybe businesses. Is this a good way to drum up some individual clients?
Absolutely. So we focus on B2B, but we call it B2B-ish. We've had clients who are like online personal trainers. What we've done for them is we said, okay, who needs online personal training? Let's go target C-level execs at certain level companies because they're going to be really busy. So now crafting that messaging to you're still targeting the individual behind the company. So if you need to target the individual for different reasons, so you can say, hey, I want to target people who are in an internship position because I know that they need to boost their resume for their next thing, or they're in an entry level position. So I want to boost their resume for trying to, climb the ladder or get a different job, whatever it is. You're targeting the individuals. So if you can craft your messaging and say, hey, I targeted you because you're an intern and I want to help you boost up your resume or help you write your resume for future endeavors. That's a great way to be able to utilize this as well.
That was good. Katie, do you see any other questions we haven't answered yet?
I think we've covered them all.
Okay.
So we have one last thing we can do for everyone. So we talked about resume worded. And how it gives a score of a profile. Well, we're going to take Dave's profile, and go ahead and upload it to Resume Worded and see what the score is. So really quick, while I'm doing that,
Noah is working on it for us, Braden. I had asked Noah to do that for us.
Okay.
Unless you want to, unless you're dying to use Resume Worded.
Why don't I just show how it's done?
Okay.
I'll share my screen and show how it's done. And then, so anybody who wants to put what they think that Dave's score is going to be on LinkedIn on a 0 to 100, whoever is the closest to that, we're going to use Price is Right rules. We have to be under it. Whoever is the closest to his score, we're going to give a free month of our services. So everybody can drop their scores in the chat while I share my screen and begin uploading this accordingly. So share screen is here somewhere. Share. Whoa. Okay, so if you come here to Resume Worded, you can click on Get Started for free. We have a premium Resume Worded account that gets a little bit more details. So I'm signed in. What I'm going to do is I already have his profile downloaded, but I'm going to go to LinkedIn Review. And I'm just going to find his profile here. I'm going to upload it. Hopefully my internet doesn't crap out on me while I do this. We can see it's loading. I'm going to hide it while we stop sharing, while we get some more scores in here. I want to give everybody that last minute. So we've got 78, 75, 82. I think highly of you, Dave.
I was going to say, we had a
145 in here.
I'm a little reluctant to go any further and kind of.
Yeah, I wouldn't have any more conversations with Molly. She just thinks you're a 45. So anybody else, we'll give 10, 15 more seconds before we get this score. 89, 84, 83, 73, 88. If we do have two of the same numbers, we'll do another profile and get a guess on that as well. Okay, I think we're ready. And as bad as this is, Let me share my screen. And this says nothing about you, Dave. You've got some tools to go forward that we've given you on how to improve your profile. The profile score that you got
is
a 50.
Oh, 50.
What's awesome over here is you've got your time estimate on how long they think it'll take to fix up your profile. So, and then if we scroll to the bottom, we can see your headline has got a 7 out of 10. Your summary doesn't exist. So that's why that got a 0. Your experience is a 5 out of 10. And what's cool is you can click on that and we can say, okay, what do we think? Why is it giving you a 5 out of 10 on that? So it's got a vague job title. It needs to, it didn't like that. So summary needs review, words long. There's some other things, which apparently I logged into the wrong account to get those extra criteria. So Molly actually gets to have a free month of our services. So Molly, if you will email Katie, and Katie's email, I'll just drop it. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
All right, let me stop sharing. Okay. Are there any more questions that we can help answer around? So Resume Worded actually does resume scores for other resumes as well. We're in the LinkedIn world, so we use it for LinkedIn profiles. But it can also just upload a other resume. I've never done it. I don't know the last time I've updated my own resume. It's been a while. So LinkedIn is kind of like the resume of the social media world. Awesome. Anybody else? Any questions we can help answer?
Molly says thanks. She looks like she's excited. And Molly, I'm never talking to you again either. And thanks for everybody else who showed undue confidence in my profile.
Didn't get them anywhere, but at least
at
least it built up your relationship with
Dave. I don't know. I think there'll be a little chit chat at our next staff meeting here.
Well, if there are more questions, you guys can feel free to click that calendar link. We'll send that calendar link in the replay that we sent out to everybody who was either here or wasn't here with that calendar link. Connect with us, any of us on LinkedIn as well. Braden Wallach, Katie Collins, Noah Smith. That one might be harder to find. Noah Smith, and look for Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And then Lizzie Marks out of Indianapolis, and Katie Collins out of Columbus. And I'm the only Braden Wallach. So Roscoe also has a LinkedIn profile. If you guys want to connect with him, it's just Roscoe Wallach, Roscoe. Wallach. He doesn't post that often. He's kind of lazy, but here we are.
All right. I can't thank you guys enough. This has been so much fun. I really appreciate this. This has been awesome. So I guess we'll call it a day. Thanks for everybody showing up today. Brandon, I guess you'll get back into the van. And are you in the van?
I'm in the van. I can show you guys. So we operate our entire company from this van, me, my dog, and the girlfriend. So, and that's hence the internet issues, which they've been here. And Manny, real quick, Manny, did you say we get a free one-time session consult? That's correct. So we'll send you the link for that free consultation to be able to schedule that with either Katie or Noah or Lizzie. So we'll send that in the follow-up email, and there's somewhere also a link in the chat. But
it's in the chat. Yeah, we can resend it again too. So
But yeah, Dave, thanks so much for having us. This has been fun. If you ever need anything, feel free to let us know.
Yeah. We'll do this again soon. So thank you so much, Braden, and thanks, Katie.
Yeah, thanks for having us. This is great.
All right. Everybody have a great Wednesday, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for coming today. I had a great time. I hope you did too. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.